Alrighty class, let's get started with science. On the top of your paper write Science 7 10.4 for Lesson 4, Unit 10 of Science. Today we'll be talking about biodiversity, and of course with the yellow highlighted, these are your answers to the questions that we will following all along through. So let's get started. Starting with the first one. What is the ability of an ecosystem to maintain its balance of resources and continues its process over a long period of time? That is sustainability. So please write that down. Going in this paragraph, it talks about variety of animal species and different types of species that are associated with our ecosystem. So the variety of animals and the plant species in an environment is called biodiversity. Some areas have large populations of only a few species, while others have smaller populations of many different kinds of plants and animals. Every species plays a role in its ecosystem, helping to sustain and grow the other species of its own niche. When a species becomes endangered or extinct, the rest of the species are affected, and sometimes become in danger of extinction. So with biodiversity, it can also refer to the variety of genes in a species, or even the different types of varieties of an ecosystem in a region. For the most part, though, a scientist is talking about the species variety when he mentions biodiversity. In this paragraph, we talk about regions of biodiversity. Not every part of the world has the same level of variety among species. Some areas are full of variety, while others have only a few species in them. Biodiversity is the highest in tropical zones of the earth and tends to increase as the climate grows more temperate. Plant and animal species are not evenly distributed in any part of the world, but rather are found in large numbers in certain hotspots, such as near a large human populations or in the tropical rainforest. So surprisingly, the ocean has much less biodiversity than land biomes. One exception, however, is the coral reef area, which is home to 1,000 of different species and plants and animals. The rest of the ocean, though, has far fewer varieties of tropical mountains, forests, or even swamp biomes. The largest variety in the animal kingdom is the insect class, with over 1 million known species and probably many more in existence. Insects, which belong to the arthropod phylum, do not live in the ocean. The only arthropods found in the ocean are lobsters. So even a small particle of land that houses several thousand insect species can have more biodiversity than the ocean. The large amount of the biodiversity is found in the tropical rainforests of the world. The conditions for plants and animal growth in these places are perfect for abundant life, and as each species thrives, it paves the ways for more species to grow and be supported. Biodiversity decreases the climate zones, become colder and is lowest in the polar regions. Only a few species of plants and animals have the adaptations needed to live in constant cold and dry conditions. In this paragraph, we will talk about the factors that influence biodiversity. Biodiversity depends mostly on climate, but there are other factors that influence its growth as well. Warmer climates encourage plant growth, and are home to many more species of plants that cold climates are. The altitude of the ecosystem also affects how many species can grow. Many varieties of plants are unable to grow in high altitudes. The lowest altitudes of the Earth, the ocean floor, do not receive enough sunlight to support most species of life. The best places for any species to thrive are somewhere in between. Soil quality and quantity determine how many plants can grow in the ecosystem, which in turn determines how many animals can be supported by those plants. Rich, healthy soils is home to a far greater variety of plants than sand or shallow, mineral-stripped ground. Biodiversity is a kind of chain reaction. The more varieties of plants and animals there are in a given area, the more likely it is that even more species can be introduced and supported. So the benefits. Why does it matter what tens or even 100,000 species of plants and animals grow in a forest? Why is biodiversity so important to the ecosystem? Well, it does have a lot of ecological benefits. So here are the few of them, and of course the ones highlighted are the ones you should be writing down, which the first one is improve air quality, regulates climate, encourages pollination, prevent erosions, sustains the ecosystem, allows more industrial resources to be harvested, and straightens the food chain. So these are some of all the reasons, but are not limited to why it's important for biodiversity, because it does have improvements in ecological effects to our environment. Biodiversity and sustainability. So as we talked about in the first part when we talked about sustainability, the ability of the ecosystem to maintain its balance of resources and continue its process over a long period of time. That's sustainability. Biodiversity contributes to the sustainability of an ecosystem, and it helps the ecosystem to be more resilient under stress and recover more easily when changes occur. Some of the processes that must continue if an ecosystem is going to survive are the food chain, the energy pyramid, population cycles, and cycles of matter. Because there are more varieties of organisms in an ecosystem, there are more species contributing to these cycles and keep the ecosystem functioning properly. The decline of biodiversity. Through the years, scientists have noticed the rate of species going extinct has increased, especially since the Industrial Revolution, as humans have rushed to clear land and build new machines, plants, and animal. Build new machines, but plants and animal varieties have been diminished at an alarming rate because of it. The reason for the decline of biodiversity are abundant, but most seem to be caused by human activity. Population kills off many species of both plants and animal life. Habitat destruction have taken place so people can build larger farms or bigger cities. Other human activities have driven away many species from their natural habitats. Hunting certain animals or over-harvesting certain tree species certainly causes extinction for many cases, or at least for a very large threat of extinction. Mankind must realize his responsibility to preserve the large variety of species found on Earth. When a species dies off, ecosystems are damaged, as certain niches are no longer filled. An entire ecosystem can eventually be destroyed unless species are removed from it. Ecosystems are very dependent on each variety of plant and animals found in their boundaries. Alright guys, that's it for lesson 4 of science. Thank you for tuning in.